Welcome back. It's time to go in depth. We head on over to Trinidad and Tobago, where environmentalist Dr. Wayne Kublalsingh remains on a life-threatening hunger strike to protest the expansion of one of the legs of the Point 14 highway. The environmentalist, who became known in 2012 as the most vocal supporter of the rerouting of the Debe to Mount Desert leg of the Point 14 highway in Trinidad, embarked on a hunger strike to convince the government to make an environmentally friendly option. He resumed his unconventional campaign in 2014 and is currently on day 37. In 2012, Dr. Kublalsingh staged a 21-day hunger strike that only ended after the Joint Consultative Council for the Construction Industry and other civil society groups released the terms of reference for the Independent Review Committee to examine the several matters regarding the construction of the highway. Kublalsingh has accused the government of reneging on a promise to abide by the Armstrong report that followed the review. Joining me today for In-Depth is Dr. Wayne Kublalsingh. Dr. Kublalsingh?
Hi, good evening, and good evening to the people of Jamaica.
Welcome to In-Depth, sir. How are you feeling?
Well, right now I'm lying in my bed with a hoodie over my head because I'm feeling pretty cold at the extremities. Pretty weak. I can't really do my usual walk in the garden and my little salt baths which I take and my meditation outside. So I'm basically confined to bed at the moment. Tonight is Diwali night in Trinidad and Tobago, so I'm listening to the firecrackers.
Okay, for persons who are new to the controversy of the highway, share with us a summary of the journey from the beginning.
Well, this is a struggle which started in 2005 when residents of that area, David to Mount Desert, they began to protest against the building of a highway because they felt that there was too much ecological and economic and social resources being compromised. Because the government wanted to take part of a mountain range here and put it across a wetland area to destroy 13 communities, a very good system of road connectivity, 300 homes, multi-million-dollar businesses, and systems of land tenure and land inheritance, agricultural soil and so on. So they were saying, if it is that you want all of these resources, all of our resources, community resources, you need to do the accounting. And so they came up with a proposal to reroute the highway. Instead of building a four-lane highway, they proposed that the government go around these well-endowed communities with connector roads and link roads, which would give the same kind of connectivity or even better and cost the government $1 or $2 billion less. And then they came to me to help them because the government was ignoring them. And since then, we've engaged in a number of actions. We've had arrests. I've been arrested 4 times, hundreds of letters and talk shows and motorcades and sit-ins and all kinds of protests. And we've been brutally attacked. Our camp has been destroyed. And this has led to this hunger strike at this point in time.
Okay, civil society has largely been in support of your cause in recent times, but is it too late for them to be in support?
Oh, no, not at all. In 2012, we met with the Honorable Prime Minister, and she promised to put on hold and review the highway, and she did not review it. And this led to the first hunger strike, and the first hunger strike led to the Armstrong report, which basically reiterated the promise of the Prime Minister to put on hold, and they basically ignored this report. And so the government has started building the highway, and we have proposed a route which is basically complementary, a new route which is complementary to the government's route. It has a number of advantages, and if it is that the government even follows this particular route, it will lead to a number of advantages. And we're really basically basing what we're doing now on the government's own route, part of it, but it's a connector road rather than building a highway system there.
Okay. Was the avenue of a joint letter to the Privy Council to fast-track the HRM versus the government of Trinidad and Tobago taken?
Yes, well, we are going to the Privy Council, but what the government has been doing is that they've been delaying matters in court and expediting work on the ground. And by the time the matter goes to the Privy Council and then the other substantive matter is finished at the High Court, the highway will be built. So we cannot wait on the courts to decide this matter. The highway will have already been built, and therefore we have to take some kind of action at this time.
Can you give us an update on that?
Well, we are still struggling to get to the Privy Council. We were given conditional leave to go to the Privy Council, and we have not reached there. But by the time we get to the Privy Council, it will be another month or two.
Okay. Yourself and the HRM submitted an optimum connectivity proposal this year as an alternative to the current highway route. What's different about this proposal than the one submitted in 2012?
Well, the one in 2012, we didn't name a specific route. We basically outlined the concept of building connector roads. That area here has a lot of vast land around it to build connector roads, link roads, feeder roads, auxiliary roads. Now, a highway is a very beautiful technological invention, but when it has to pass through well-endowed communities, it can be very destructive. So what we're saying, go around and you build the connector roads and so on. The government has started a route, and we're saying instead of forfeiting that route, why not use this as a connector road rather than a highway to bring more connectivity? So we have this time outlined a specific connector route, in addition to another highway which we have proposed from Davie to the linking the Point Fortin Highway from Davie, which we think will bring optimum connectivity to the area.
Lovely. Dr. Kublalsingh, why are you now refusing to receive medical aid in any eventuality?
Well, because the government thinks we're joking. This is an act of peaceful social war. And whatever we have done in the past, all actions we have taken in the past have been met with brutal force, have been met with money. Actually, the government, we believe, has been using money to influence some of the institutions in the country. And it's basically a fight where you cannot afford to look left and look right. You have to go straight, as we say, straight through the arrows and through the core. And if the government thinks you're bluffing, if the government thinks that you're not prepared to face mortality and death, they'll keep on playing with you. And we don't want to play with the government. This is a serious matter. It's a peaceful act of social war. We have been engaging with the government, which is committing outrage after outrage after outrage against the people. And we need to be very firm, and we need to act firmly and decisively. And if they think that we have as a kind of savior, as a kind of a relief, ambulance and doctors and so on, they will not take us seriously.
Okay, Dr. Kublalsingh, who is leading the HRM now that you're bedridden?
Well, we have group leaders, and they're leading it. I've also appointed one member of the trade union, David Abdullah, to manage the diplomatic aspects of the struggle for us. But the group leaders are doing a fine job leading the HRM. But I, of course, take telephone calls every day, and I am visited by the elders in the movement, and I give my advice when it's required.
Okay, the ones who are fasting for 40 days, one per day, have any of those persons contacted you?
Yes, I contact them on a regular basis. They are young persons, and they're learning. They're learning that what the struggle is about is not just about the highway, it's about transparency in government, it's about accountability. If it is that the government wants to take your ecological resources, part of a mountain, part of a lagoon, community assets, ecological assets, social assets, economic assets, and they want to acquire it and destroy it, they must account. They must justify. We cannot practice the old economics anymore. We have to practice a new brand of economics in the Caribbean, because rampant these large industrializing countries and large corporations which are coming for those resources, and we need to be able to value them, because if we don't value them, we cannot go to the market and bargain. And I think this is a lesson for the whole Caribbean. When your governments intercede and act on your behalf to take your government, your resources like these, and give them away flippantly and recklessly, they need to be made to account, and they need to be made to justify scientifically and using due process of why they're doing it.
And on that note, Dr. Kublalsingh, why do you consider this cause important enough to risk your own life?
Well, there is a sense of moral outrage because we have been attacked by this government using police and dogs, and they've smashed the camp, and they're doing everything using the resources of power and so on. But what the government has also done is they have taken our republic and converted it into a kind of principality with vested interests like dukes and the old-time lords and earls and so on, basically enriching themselves, converting the people's assets, putting it in their own pockets. This cannot be tolerated. We live in a republic, and the people are there to be served by the government. The people need to feel the cutting edge of the power, and the government needs to feel vulnerable. Our people generally have been very docile, and I think they need to be able to understand that you need to put your life on the line, you need to act, and you need to act decisively, and you need to call the government to account in as decisive a manner as possible. And I think there is too much at risk to give up now, to turn back. We have to go forward, and we have to go, as we say, through the errors record and challenge the government in as strong a manner as possible.
Thank you so very much for joining us, Dr. Kublalsingh.
Thank you so much. God bless you.
Thank you. Environmentalist Dr. Wayne Kublalsingh speaking with us about his protracted hunger strike in Trinidad and Tobago against a highway expansion project which he says will be detrimental to the environment.